Hello and welcome to Vatican Diplomacy, our weekly touch base on all things related to the diplomatic activities of the Holy See. Holy See is sometimes called the greatest soft power in the world. It's because it has diplomatic ties with more than 180 nations worldwide, 183 to be precise. That's only second to the United States in the number of diplomatic ties of any nation on earth. The Holy See works underneath the gaze of the Pope. The Secretary of State, Cardinal Pietro Parolin, is in charge of this Ministry of Foreign Affairs for the Holy Father, which works to promote religious freedom, to establish and promote also peace and the common good in nations worldwide. I'm Alan Holdren, EWTN Vatican Bureau Chief, here in our Vatican studios with Andrea Gagliarducci, our diplomacy specialist. Welcome, Andrea.
Thank you. It's nice to be here and to talk about this greatest soft power in the world.
So, Andrea, if we look at the three main themes that we're going to be speaking about this week, we're talking about personnel changes within the Secretariat of State, talking about the visits of presidents, 5 over the next month here to the Holy See, and also the Pope's latest appeal for peace and stability in Iraq. Let's start with that first, the personnel changes in the Secretariat of State. There have been some major changes. People have been sent off to apostolic nunciatures and other charges worldwide. Why have these changes all come about in the last couple of months?
Well, there are two main reasons. The top-ranking officials were moved to new positions because it's part of the diplomatic career. The diplomatic career of a papal nuncio usually starts off as an chargé d'affaires, an attaché in the nunciatures that are the papal ambassadors all over the world, generally 3 nunciatures, Africa, Asia, South America. And then they're sent back to the second section of the Secretariat of State. The second section of the Secretariat of State is the section that deals with diplomatic relations. And then after that, if they're going to be chosen as nuncios, they're sent out as nuncios. They're ordained archbishops. The nuncio is always an archbishop. And then they're sent to other positions. And that's one of the reasons why you saw some major changes. Then there are minor changes. Minor changes are also due to the fact that last year the Pope appointed a new sostituto. The sostituto is the deputy to the Secretariat of State, but actually is the one who mostly handles the organizational issues for the Secretariat of State. The new sostituto is Archbishop Edgar Peñaparra. And after 1 year of his appointment, he was appointed on August 15th, 2018, well, he started to build up his team. And so that's why you saw other changes.
And one of these key positions that was sort of cycled out is Monsignor Antoine Camilleri, who is the Undersecretary for Relations with States, a real key position. He was sent as Apostolic Nuncio to Ethiopia and Djibouti. What can we read into this appointment and why is it so important?
Well, it's very important start as an apostolic nuncio for Monsignor Camilleri. We have to remember that the position of Undersecretary for the Relation of the States can be compared to the position of Vice Minister for Foreign Affairs in any other secular state. So in that position, Camilleri worked to improve the Holy See-Vietnam relations, and there will be likely a resident representative of the Holy See to Vietnam, also thanks to his work that took over from the work of his predecessor. And then he also signed the agreement, the provisional agreement on the appointment of bishops with China. So he was a key figure in many key situations, and now he's been sent to Ethiopia. Ethiopia is another crucial position. It's very critical in Africa. Just think that Ethiopia now is, the president of Ethiopia was awarded with a Nobel Prize. He's been with the Pope. He was awarded for that because he concluded a peace agreement with Eritrea after 20 years of war. And, being in that region where in Eritrea Christians, Catholics are very much persecuted by the government, being in Ethiopia with a good president, with overall situation, it's very crucial for the region. So the nuncio will play a key role over there. That's why.
Okay, let's talk about the upcoming visits of 5 presidents over the next month, Andrea. The Pope took most of October off of visiting with heads of states because of the synod that was going on. But now we have a lineup of Lithuania, Estonia, Cyprus, Angola, Cape Verde, all coming in the coming weeks. I want to focus on 2 of these. Lithuania has a Catholic president. What's different about the visit of a Catholic president to the Holy See? Well,
the President Nausėda in Lithuania, he was elected president last May, so it's his first visit to the Vatican. His first visit to the Vatican, it's considered a state visit, which means that it has a special protocol. Well, let's go the details of the protocol, but after he meets the vicar of Peter, so the Pope, and they will talk about main issues, especially also related with the papal trip to Lithuania back in 2018, he will go to Peter himself. So he will go down to the St. Peter Basilica, he will pray in front of John Paul II tomb, then he will go to the Papal Grotto where there is a Lithuanian chapel. The Lithuanian chapel is very important for many reasons. It's one of the few national chapels you have in the Grotto, and it's also the chapel where John Paul II went after he was elected Pope. It was the first thing he did after he was elected Pope, because there is the image of the Divine Mercy. The first image of Divine Mercy was painted in Lithuania as well. And so this will all be part of the visit to the Pope. Obviously, there will also be the bilateral meeting on state relations with the Cardinal Secretary of State Parolin and Archbishop Gallagher, that is the so-called foreign ministry of the Holy See.
Andrea, what about Cyprus? We've got Cyprus as an island has long been divided between sort of north and south, Turkish and Greek speaking. It's been a point of conflict. What is their main issue the Cypriot president will want to talk about when he comes to visit the Pope?
Well, there was a reception for the independence of Cyprus in Rome. The ambassador of Cyprus to the Holy See is the dean of the corps of the ambassadors, Poulides. And in his speech, he said that the president of Cyprus is coming to tell the Holy See, to show the Holy See that Cyprus can be a land of peace. Why? Because in Cyprus you have the latest wall in Europe that divides from Greek part to Turkish part. There is a so-called Turkish occupation. So the Cyprus problem will be focus of these talks he will have with the Pope and then with the Secretary of State. Then there are other two issues. One is the ecological issue. Cyprus has a very progressive, I would say inventive approach to the ecological issues, so they will bring it up with the Pope. And then there will be the 10th anniversary of Benedict XVI visit to Cyprus next year. And even Ambassador Poulides wrote a book on that, so there will be celebrations, and they will likely invite the Pope to go there for next year, just to celebrate.
Okay, and our last topic is Iraq. The Holy Father made an appeal for peace and reconciliation in Iraq after anti-government protests have taken hundreds of lives. What is the Church's sort of strategy for bringing about a lasting peace in Iraq, and how are Christian and Catholic Church leaders working there?
Well, the Pope made an appeal because there have been protests in Iraq. Now the protests are linked to the economic situations of people. And, why the protests now? Because until now, Iraq has been into emergency. There was the ISIS occupation, then there was the liberation from the ISIS occupation. And now the people are looking forward a future that they don't see. And both the Pope and the Christian leaders, and now the Patriarch Sacco, that is a cardinal as well, they asked the government to listen to the people and to give people a dignified life. So that's the main issue of the main issue of the protests. The churches in Iraq are working a lot to help people and help refugees and especially internally displaced people to get back to their homes. The most difficult thing they can do is not providing housing, providing supplies and so on. That's the easiest thing. It's hard to say, but it's the easiest thing. The hardest thing they're doing is to restore trust. Because when ISIS came, a lot of their neighbors, they betrayed because they were Muslims, so they felt sympathetic to the Muslim, although there was no sympathy for the terrorism and so on. So now people don't want to get back to their homes because they don't trust their neighbor. And this is what the churches have to do now.
Mm-hmm. And that's why the Pope spoke of reconciliation.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Andrea. And thank you all of you joining in from home for this Vatican Diplomacy Insert, our weekly touch base on all things related to Holy See diplomacy. I'm Alan Holdren here in studio with Andrea Gagliarducci. We invite you to write us directly on Twitter at EWTN Vatican, and also join the conversation by way of the hashtag Vatican Diplomacy. Thank you so much for being with us. We'll catch you again next week.